STEM in there, and you've got a lot of the STEM activities that like are sale and people can do, I guess, while they're here.
Yep.
What got you into the STEM side of it over any other type of engagement activity at the coffee shop?
Yep, for sure. So our entire coffee lineup is based off of science. And so we have 2 young kids and trying to teach them what does it look like to explore through play. And so they watch us all the time. They're usually here running around. And yeah, coffee is just a really cool thing. So it's all scientific. So we just think like put the coffee grounds in and, you know, push the button and I have a cup of coffee. But there's ways to manipulate it and extract it to increase or decrease the elements that you don't like. And so that's what our entire coffee menu is based on. And so oftentimes if you come in the lab, we're screwing around with a bunch of different things and testing one variable and trying to isolate that one variable. So we thought it would be really cool to get kids started young. How do we teach them how to look at the world in the same way?
So you call it the drink lab. So that's what the area is where you make the drinks.
Correct.
And so how often at any given time when someone comes in, do you experiment there in front of them like, let's try something on you, like the guinea pigs?
Yep, so great question. Before moving to our new location in the end of February, we had previously been across the street in a loft and we had no menu there. So most of our regular customers are used to coming in and being guinea pigs. And so you'll hear regulars come through the door and be like, what are you trying today? And they never want to order off the actual menu. And so we wanted to maintain that, but we also understand that if there's a line to the door, that we can't provide that experience for everybody. But oftentimes, yes, you come up, our first thing we'll say is we understand all of our menu items seem really intimidating. We want you to trust us that we start with the science of flavor, not just a recipe. So we do a lot of research to understand how do different elements interact with each other. When you increase certain elements, it pulls out different flavor notes. And then we bring it to kind of the beta testing level. If we talk tech right now, those are our regular customers. They're trying stuff for a month or 2 before we launch it on the menu. And then by the time it gets to the menu, all of our staff have already been sick of it because we've been doing so much testing on the back end that we're starting on the new menu. So there's always something new to try.
How cool is that? All right. I'll let you have the fun of popping it.
Okay, so what do I do? Just
Pop it and it will, yeah, go everywhere.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Let's go on this one.
So that's rose infusion.
Oh my gosh, that's so good too.
It smells like fireworks.
It does smell like fireworks. Okay, so tell me
Does it taste like fireworks?
what that did. Why
It's
did
more of
that
an
make it?
aromatic element.
It just makes it.
See, I used to be a coffee person,
Okay.
not drinking, but making. So
Okay.
I've been in barista all over the state
Sure.
of Iowa. So I went the opposite way
Sure.
and decided that I wasn't going to drink it or make it anymore.
Yep.
So it's interesting to come into a place like this because I understand some of the flavor and stuff behind it too. But for someone that doesn't, that might watch this,
Yep.
what do you want them to know about flavor of coffee? Like what you do that sets them apart from whether it's your competition downtown or Starbucks or whatever it is.
Sure. Yeah, so a lot of people, they don't really understand coffee. Coffee is just a beverage that they drink in the morning to give them caffeine. But there's a lot that goes into it. And typically, we don't add anything to our coffee. We're actually an air roasted coffee. Most coffee shops use gas to roast their coffee. There's a lot of studies out there that if that's actually good for you to consume. So our coffee's gonna be a lot cleaner, as well tasting, as well as if people like struggle with acid reflux, they usually don't struggle with that when they drink our coffee because you're not ingesting those gases from the flame of the propane. And so I usually tell people if you don't like coffee but you like unsweet tea, you just haven't had the right coffee. Almost 90% of the time I can convert a customer just off of that one piece of information. And so our coffee, we have some that taste like red wine. We have others that just taste like your traditional coffee. And so the best way is to find a local roaster because the coffee that you're buying in the store is already stale. So it's like buying stale chips. We would never do that. We'd get real frustrated and annoyed So why do we do it with other products?
It'll be a little bit. Come on, cinnamon.
Look at
There we go.
those flames. And like, what made you try this?
I don't know.
You just came up with it, or had you seen someone do it?
Boy, fire's fun. I wonder if I can
love
work it into
fire.
coffee.
No, I just have been in the industry for almost 10 years, and I realized that traditional coffee shops are not going. That is not good. It's not sustainable. When like the average cost of a latte for a coffee shop, just cost of goods is over $1. You can start easily replicating in your own brains. Okay, if you assume X amount of dollars for salary, X amount of dollars for rent, how quickly nobody's going to want to pay $8 for a latte. That's not sustainable. And so people are used to paying $8 for a cocktail though.
Right.
So if you can become more cocktail style lounge, then you do less volume at a higher price point, and provide an experience that people remember and talk about. So
Okay, so this one makes me feel like fall though.
yep.
I feel like I want to be in a bonfire
Yep.
and sipping this and I don't know, watching football or something.
Yep. It's a
So-
very warming drink.
Yeah, but it's also kind of like homey.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
like I don't know, sitting
Yep.
around the campfire.
Definitely, for sure.
Okay, so obviously you used to be across the street, now you've grown into this. Do you see yourself growing again outside of this?
I don't know.
I know you're relatively new in the building.
Yeah, I don't know. We're open to whatever might come.
Coffee and.
Coffee and exactly. The big thing for us is family is huge. So almost all of our staff are moms. So we don't open until school has begun. So they go drop their kids off at school. They come, they work for the day, and we close so they can go pick up their kids from school. And that's something that is really important to my husband and I as the founders, as well as the staff that we have, just to allow people an opportunity to work, but also like we don't want people working all the time. Go enjoy your family, spend time with them. There's always another coffee shop down the road if somebody wants another cup of coffee, and that's never been a part of who we are as a business. Like in a couple months, my daughter's in soccer, and so I take the entire 2 months on Saturdays off to go coach. When we were across the street, we'd shut down for 2 months. And at first they're like, what do you mean you're shutting down? And the people catch the vision and the heart behind it, and it just drives it more.
Nice.
And so being unabashed about family first and business second has been something that we will maintain.
How old are your kids?
I have a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old.
Okay, so they're not quite ready to come work with you.
Oh, my 7-year-old is here. I would trust my 7-year-old to run this shop.
Nice.
She's a big reason why we're here. Every decision we let her, it was like her experiment.
That is fantastic. What a
So,
great mom.
They are here more than you would expect.
Yeah.
If we're busy,
Pretty soon you're gonna have to put them on salary.
she already gets paid.
Oh, very good, very good. You are a good mom.
She literally, if our staff are sick, she will come to work and run the register, and she's
Young
Girls,
entrepreneur.
man.
Young.
yeah, she wanted a coffee shop. She was like, I want to work there. I'm like, all right, well, let's do it. So
Well, then
she's
look, now you're gonna have her around for a while,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
She'll probably stay home.
she is the one that we sat her family down, like, all right, these are our options. And at 5 years old, she said, let's do it. Let's get the building in the city. So that's kind of been our family running joke for a long time, but it's her fault that we're here.
And what's your kids' favorite coffee? Do they drink it yet?
My oldest kid loves our Cambodian coffee, so it's some sweet milk and cold brew. And my youngest, she loves our space bubbles, which is like kind of a fruity.
Where can people find you?
Yeah, so if you want to buy beans online, www.iriscoffee.co, and you'll find most of our allotments, and those change regularly. As fast as we can cycle through beans, we cycle them in and cycle them out. We have 2 different subscription platforms, one that focuses on 4 different traditional beans that it rotates through, and the other that focuses on 4 enthusiast beans that they rotate through.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I
Thank you.
appreciate the time.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so what do you think of this place?
I have been in the coffee industry for a while, done stuff, and I never talked to anybody about the science about why coffee can taste this way or how it can taste different. Like, I love mixing syrups and making simple drinks and naming them, but this is beyond anything.
I mean, come on. How beautiful is this purple and the cinnamon? I mean, it's wonderful. And honestly, I never would have put like science and coffee together. So just hearing her passion for that is fantastic. And I thought it was really important what she said about how, you know, coffee prices are going up. There's a lot of things happening in the world. There's not as many coffee beans to go around, right? And so people are always like, why is my cup of coffee going up? Well, now we know why. There's a variety of factors that go into it, and I really like that she's thinking about the future and how this is going to be more like craft beer or craft, you know, your wine or your martinis that cost $9 and you don't think a thing about it. But you would maybe complain about a cup of coffee costing $9 and you're not going to now.
Right, because a cup of coffee's always been something simple. That's what you've been taught.
Exactly.
And so, but changing that narrative is huge. But one of the things I especially like about it is as food changes, as people want to know where more stuff is sourced from, she can do that. She can talk about the science behind it. You're looking at like a coffee boutique.
Right.
You know, like food boutiques and stuff like that. The craft brews have always been that sort of beer boutique. Now there's a coffee one, and it's fantastic.
And talking about her kids and, you know.
And the fact that her 7-year-old daughter could run the place without her was really impressive.
She can go on vacation and her daughter can run the place.
Yeah. Well, who needs to have grandparents watch them when she can be here? They know exactly where she's going to be.
Put her right to work, right?
But even like working later on with like schools and stuff like that, having people like students come in that have grown up with, especially with her kids, coming in and learning the science of it and the STEM activities and everything. That's a great way to build, you know, the next generation. Maybe they do it with a restaurant next or something else that takes this and goes beyond it or goes in a different direction. It's huge. And she talked about the families, work-life balance type of thing. Like, the wave of the future literally starts right here. Coffee and the future is really what we're looking at.
Coffee and.
Coffee and, because she's right. How often do you just drink a cup of coffee and just sit there drinking a cup of coffee? Very few people do, unless it's, you know, they're sick on a Sunday morning or something at home.
And so I'm really glad we found this place.
I am too. And so if you're ever in Pella, stop by the Irish Coffee Company. It's on Franklin Street, just off the square. It's a fantastic place, especially if you want to break outside your box and be a little creative. That's exactly what she's here for. Coffee and.
Coffee and.